The Chernobyl disaster occurred in April 1986 when a fire broke out in the nuclear reactor at Chernobyl plant near the city of Pripyat in northern Ukraine on the border with Russia and Belarus. The disaster occurred while an experiment to cool the reactor under emergency conditions despite the low power. Those who were in charge insisted on conducting the experiment, which resulted in an excess of energy that led to the tearing apart of the reactor's components. This led to the loss of cooling fluid, which increased the fire, heat, and spread of the radiation-contaminated steam in the area surrounding the reactor. Soviet Army units were used at the time to put out the fire, and nearly 50,000 people were evacuated to avoid injury. Within 36 hours, the contamination area expanded, necessitating the evacuation of about 70,000 more people, and strict measures were taken to contain the crisis. The fire was extinguished and an insulating dome was built to completely cover the reactor in order to prevent the spread of radiation. The military units took exceptional measures to clean the roads, buildings, disinfect the water supply to the point of removing layers of dirt surrounding the reactor. The outcome of the disaster resulting in the death of 2 engineers and the injury of 2 others with serious burns, in addition to 247 workers being hospitalized for examination, of whom 28 died. Valery Alexeyevich Legasov, a chemist and member of the Society of Science in the Soviet Union and one of the heroes who saved Europe from a real disaster. Valery was among the committee that was formed to contain the crisis. This man's courage and bold decisions at the time when bureaucracy was in control, as well as him risking his life on many occasions, helped to contain the crisis greatly. His assistance and support for this evacuation decision contributed to save many lives. Also, his guidance based on his scientific experience, using military vehicles and helicopters on more than one occasion, to the point that he received criticism on more than once for risking his life. The risk of radiation or even death was nothing to him comparing to end the crisis and saving the people. In April 1988, the psychological condition of the hero who contributed to save Europe worsened after he became so sick as a result of his exposure to high doses of radiation and the failure of HIS treatment, which led to his suicide and died at the age of 51 years. 600 Soviet pilots, in addition to many firefighters and police, contributed to end this crisis. Many of these heroes were exposed to lethal doses of radiation. The cleaning operation started after the fire was extinguished. The Soviets used 60 remote-controlled robots to remove approximately 100 tons of debris. With the increase in radiation rates, the robots malfunctioned, which required another sacrifice from the heroes of the military units to remove the rest of the debris. They were wearing radiation protective suits known as hazmat suits and were given the title of the living robots. The management of the crisis needed more than 3,000 of these heroes. Each one of the living robots would not spend more than 90 seconds at the accident site. After that, a huge concrete building was built surrounding the reactor to prevent radiation leakage. The heroes who risked their lives were honored and given medals for their heroism and services. Amongst the natural sites that were affected by the radiation emitted were the pine forests near the reactor, whose trees became reddish-brown and was given the nickname the Red Forest. May the fallen ones' souls rest in peace. Like, follow, subscribe, and activate the bell for the latest.